then later we see Sami Zayn. He just can't get himself away from the Bloodline storyline. And so he talks to Jay backstage and just gives him the rundown, being like, this was when I was a part of the Bloodline, it was the best time in my career. And some of it was actually the best in my life. And I know that that's the same for you. He tells him that you're being manipulated by Roman to choose between your brother and your other brother and him, the same way that he did that to me with Kevin. And when he's in tribal chief mode, there's no stopping him. He will do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. And you need to make sure that you listen to your heart and not what is being fed into your ear. So I was like, okay, Sami. Jay really doesn't say anything, but I did love how Sami was like, when I would just like make you laugh, even when you weren't trying to laugh. I was like, oh my God. Like,
hey, right there, he did it, and then he called him out. Like, it was, like, genuine. You know what I mean? Oh, it just felt so good.
Yes. So then we see.
I had some comments about this.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I just had one. In the sense where I don't really. I'm actually for Sami doing these little backstage stuff right now, because this is the part where Jay's kind of trying to figure out who's right, who's wrong, and whose side to be on. And you need Sami as the voice of reason, because he did get out. He's with his long lost brother, essentially. And he still is connected. Like, he was in the Bloodline. He was probably one of the major players in the Bloodline. You have to keep him involved in some way, shape, or form. I like how KO is not involved in these backstage segments because he doesn't need to be. And I like how it's like, can we go back to this because they respect their boundaries in that sense? That's great friendship right there, too. Another element.
I think it makes sense because we saw everything that unfolded when Sami was in the Bloodline and how it was like tumultuous even for Jay, that it was a hard decision for him to be like, okay, what do I do? So it's like repeating history, because at that point he was like, do I go with Sami? Do I listen to what Sami is saying because he saw everything that Sami was saying to be true, or do I stay with my family? And now he's kind of like back at that point again, but this time instead of it being Sami, it's his actual blood brother, which is interesting when you think about the things that he said to Sami when he finally was rejoining the Bloodline and being like, why do you think I would ever listen to you? You're not my brother. You're not blood. You're not my family. I'm always going to stick with my family. So now you're like, okay, so he's probably replaying all these moments in his head, but this time it's going to be a more difficult decision because Jimmy is his brother. They're closer than brothers, they're twins. So
they shared a womb.
Yeah. So it's like, again, it's like I said, and we've said a million times on here, that it really is like history repeating itself. But this time it's just going to be a little bit more difficult for Jay to figure out what he wants to do, because it's not a guy like Sami that he didn't really have a very close relationship with prior to all of the Bloodline drama. This is his brother. So he's at that situation where he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't